Jacksonville Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
I think for some people, it feels like months until football season. I don't think it feels that way anymore, Mia. Taylor? It feels like only a month until football season begins.
Lauren, I can't go any further. I need to address, as I sit down in the 1010XL studios each and every day, I always open up a couple different tabs. I open up the Twitter machine. I open up YouTube on my laptop to talk to you wonderful folks, you wonderful Heeligans on the YouTube chat. And then I log into the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. What the heck were the boys on Jaguars today talking about? Because all of the most recent texts are like these edits and photoshops of D-Rock. What are we doing? Like, why don't we just take over here?
They
talked about honey talks.
They talked about food that you would eat that you don't think would have expired if it was 10 years old. If the food itself was 10 years old, what food would you actually eat? Dylan said syrup. D-Rock said honey. And then immediately after that, D-Rock said, I would Winnie the Pooh the hell out of some
That
honey.
explains then this caption that I am seeing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I came in for crosstalk and they were cracking about honey and I was like, I missed it. We were in a meeting. I totally missed it. And so then Dylan played the clip for me after, and that's hence the now memes or graphics that people are designing, all the Photoshop stuff, with D-Rock looking like Winnie the Pooh. That's where it comes from.
We like to say that Dewey Wingard has a lot of phrases, many of which he's copyrighted, that could go on a T-shirt. I would Winnie the Pooh the hell out of that honey. Needs to be on a T-shirt ASAP. Heeligans, you've heard your marching orders. Go for it. Continue, Lauren. Yes, football season right around the corner.
Literally a month from today, the rookies report for training camp for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then the veterans report just a few days later on July 22nd. So it feels like football season again. For some people, it feels like it's still months away. Mm-hmm. It's really not. Training camp is almost here.
This stretch is a little difficult because I feel like hockey's done, basketball's done, college baseball's done. You
Not
have
done.
baseball.
They both have one more weekend to
they're
go.
almost done.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously regular baseball's here, so that's kind of my savior. But then you also hit like All-Star break right around that time. Luckily, it's going to kind of overlap into what the camp schedule ends up looking like here in Jacksonville. But
yeah, when your baseball team takes the night off, like when it's one of those travel days, this time of year, you're like,
no,
literally, what am I supposed to do with
We
my
watched
life?
That was me last night, kind of. And there was, because the Cubs game was supposed to be on at 8. I was like so ready. We were going to go out with some of my Cubs fan friends and watch the game. It's the Cubs Brewers. Then I'm like getting ready and it's postponed for weather and it's moved to today. And now they have a doubleheader. But I was literally like, okay, well now what? Granted, the Arkansas game on, which also was devastating. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit.
Devastating
So
for
there was
Woo
something.
Pig, yes, but exciting for if you're an LSU Tiger fan out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I had fun baseball last night. So the Rays, I take the dog for a walk, come back. The Rays are down 8-0 in the third inning. And I was like, well, that escalated quickly. Obviously, I wasn't watching. But then they ended up coming back and winning 12-8, which is unreal and one of the biggest comebacks.
The Yankees haven't scored that many runs in the last 6 weeks combined.
I certainly did not expect that to happen. But yeah, the Yankees being on a 6-game skid has certainly people concerned for sure. But all right, so the Jaguars will then have joint practices held with the Dolphins in Miami starting August 22nd or August 21st ahead of that preseason game on August 23rd. And it has me wondering because we've never seen Liam Cohen run a training camp himself, right? Obviously, he's been an offensive coordinator, but never the head coach. What kind of a camp do you think we're going to get?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it'll be up-tempo, and I think that, again, we saw a little glimpse of that during OTA's minicamp. I would think with everything that has been communicated, the temperature will be both metaphorically and physically turned up a notch.
Scalding.
In that, I think that you will see the competition that they keep talking about, that they will rotate players in and out. There won't be a first, second, third team, at least for the first week or so. I would think by the time we get to week 3 or 4, you will see those spots start to settle in some of those core position groups that need to truly work, whether that be the offensive line or the cornerback position, where you have to be working in harmony with the person opposite you in your position room. I think that's where perhaps you'll start to see a little bit more solidified, hey, this person is part of this first, second, or third team. But I think the first few weeks, I think it's going to be a lot of high energy. I think it's going to be a lot of hooting and hollering, especially when the fans are out there, not just from the fans, but from the coaches as well. And up-tempo, where we know what our assignment is. We know we're going from individual drill to team drill to special teams to individual, and there is no lollygagging in between.
I've said, Mia, I think outside of Travis Hunter, they've been putting the rookies in or bringing the rookies along a little slower. Like, I don't think that they, as of now, have a lot of rookies necessarily penciled in as starters on this team, again, outside of Travis Hunter. At least that's what I've seen through the off-season workouts. I wonder if in training camp, then we start to see things shift a little bit.
I would guess so. At least seeing a little more battles, and I think the running back room is one that we're going to be talking about, those rookie running backs in the sense of and maybe not as your number one, but you're going to be talking of that order and how important they are in that sense. I also think the offensive line, like a Wyatt Milam, I think is somebody that we are going to see a little bit more of, and so I think there are going to be certain players that we're seeing in this group. I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing a lot of Jack Kaiser in certain situations because they're trying to figure out, how that linebacker room officially looks too. So I do think that there's going to be some rookies that we will see a little bit more of. And when you go back and you look at the mini camps that Coach Camp had up in Green Bay, when you look at Liam Cohen when he was in Tampa, just quick Googles of what their camps were like, the word intense is used in both of those. And so I do think that's something to expect, which I think is probably a good thing because there's been times here where you just feel like it was maybe a little too easy. And by the time the season started, they weren't prepared. And so I do think, but you don't want to, there's a level to that and there's a boundary of how hard you push because you obviously don't want injuries to happen. That's the last thing you want. But I do feel like even from OTAs and minicamp, it felt way more organized than previous years too. And so I do think that part is something. I also think just the not taking it easy, the one that the last one they had this year and they're like, oh, it'll be an hour. And then it went over that because they didn't feel like it was complete. And I do think we see more of that type of thing than we had in previous years.
Yeah, Tony Boselli last week was on the drill, the executive vice president of your Jacksonville Jaguars. He joined Dan Hicken, and he was asked, of course, by Dan what he thought camp would look like.
It's going to be a physical camp.
Okay, as physical as you can allow it to be. Or?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, that's Liam. I mean, that's who Liam is.
Okay.
I mean, Liam is he's a competitive, tough-minded individual who has a lot of energy and thinks football's supposed to be played a certain way. And I think that'll be reflected on how we practice. Now there are rules and parameters that we have to follow, and we obviously will follow those, and we're going to take care of our guys. And I think the most important thing in camp is that we're doing things at that time, no different than the period we just went through, to organize and to have an approach that does one thing and one thing only. Gets us ready and prepares us to have the opportunity to win games in September. And I think that's the approach of camp as well. And as we've put together the schedule, as Liam sat down with the staff and looking at the time we have and when we can get here and our preseason schedule and getting ready for opening day here against the Panthers, I think the approach has been pretty simple from the standpoint. It's like, all right, how do we make sure that we're ready to go?
Right.
And that we're prepared to go out there. We've done what it takes. We've built the foundation, and now we're ready to go and try to win a ball game opening weekend and be ready for 17 games.
And I think that reflects that idea of the intensity that Taylor talked about. If you're going to be ready for the heat of the battle week 1 against the Carolina Panthers, a 1 o'clock kickoff at Everbank Stadium, you need to be upping both the metaphorical and the physical temperature in July and August. I wish, and I don't know if we can find this anywhere in the ethers of the internet, I wish we had some of the audio and the quotes from whether it be the president of the Los Angeles Rams, whether it be Les Snead, but prior to Sean McVay's first training camp. Like, I feel like that needs to be a summer project for somebody to dig up those quotes and dig up what was being said prior to his first training camp. And I'm not trying to put Liam Cohen on a pedestal and compare him to his mentor.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the unknown that was Sean McVay, I did the Duval Rundown podcast a few weeks ago with Ben Gessling, our friend up at the Minnesota Star Tribune, and he talks about KOC's first training camp. But even that was different because Mike Zimmer had been fired, I believe it was week 5 of that previous season, Taylor. And so ultimately, that was, hey, we know we need young, energetic offense. We need to go the complete opposite way of what Mike Zimmer was.
Yeah.
And so there was almost like there was an expectation of like, this is what it has to be because it has to look different. And because you stayed on the offensive side of the ball with your head coaching hire, but you went younger, that's where I think it's going to be fascinating. And I don't know if we can rely on, like we don't have an understanding, Lauren. Like we don't have
this is what it will look like.
Yeah, like I don't think we do.
There's so much unknown. By the way, not it for the summer project. But yeah, we don't know. I mean, I can't remember if you were on vacation or if Taylor was on vacation. It's obviously that time of year, but I had said, like, we don't know how Liam Cohen in game is going to be.
No.
As far as calling timeouts, as far as the 4th down conversions, as far as challenging things. Like, we don't know yet his philosophy because he hasn't been a head coach before. And we knew Doug Peterson's, MO for a lot of those things. We have no idea with Liam Cohen.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to learn it in the preseason either, by the way.
Yeah, and there are certain coaches that you just kind of and I don't want to say predictable because it's usually the good coaches that you're watching, but you still know what type of coach they are in certain situational things that happen in the NFL. And so I do think that we will be learning that. And Liam Cohen's going to be learning that. Like he now is, and he spoke on this of the difference of being a head coach compared to just that offensive coordinator and then play caller for the 1 year. You're play calling, but there's a lot of other things that you are doing as a head coach during games. So how quickly is he able to balance all of that? What things do some of those come a little slower? Or is he right away there? And so those are things we see it every year where coaches that are some of the best coordinators go somewhere and as a head coach and it doesn't work. And then, or sometimes it just takes some time. It takes a little bit of time for them to kind of grasp the everything of being the head coach of a football team. And so it's a lot of unpredictability. And then you talk about also a lot of the newness on the offensive side of the football. And so you want those guys to obviously be prepared as possible, but you have two new wide receivers, the offensive line, 2-3 at least new guys on the offensive line. The running backs we're kind of questioning what that looks like. And so there's a lot of newness on that side of the ball. And so I do think you need that intensity because you always say, and you hear Tony Boselli said it before too, where you don't really know what someone is until they are in a game and you're in that full game speed, getting those game reps. And so, but you have to be able to mock that as close as possible in camp without breaking rules.
One thing that's going to be interesting, and I've had some conversations behind the scenes, and I'm curious to see how this plays out. If you remember before, I know I jetted out on vacation. The Jaguars made another move. They hired, and I remember, if you guys remember, if you're out there in Healigan Nation, the latest edition,
longest title.
Yes.
Name ever. Yes.
John Decima. I believe that's how you pronounce it. So his title is now Senior Director of Football Strategy and Game Management. So to your point earlier, Lauren, I'm very fascinated to see what his role is. Is he the one who's in Liam Cohen's ear? He spent 14 years with the Detroit Lions in a variety of different roles. But bigger picture, 30,000 foot here, he's never worked with Liam Cohen. So if he is the voice in his ear, well, yes, he has potentially experience in that field. Yeah. Again, you're bringing in
how much are they agreeing on?
Right.
And how much are they leaning on analytics?
Correct.
That's another thing we don't know.
And Anthony Campanella is coming from the Green Bay Packers. As much as he and Liam Cohen came up through the college ranks in the Northeast together, they have never actually worked together. What is that dynamic going to look like? Grant Udinski comes from the same tree, but he has never actually been on a sideline on game day with Liam Cohen. And so that's where I think you're bringing in many people from different walks of life, even if they are part of the same tree and lineage. And so that's where, again, we don't know what it's going to look like, which, that's why they call it the greatest reality show in the world.
Yeah, and will they allow Trevor Lawrence to try and go for it on 4th down, himself? I feel like in the Liam Cohen school of thought, you don't want to put your quarterback in harm's way in that time, leaning that right arm that controls the destiny of your
Baker
football
put his
team.
body out there, though.
Oh,
Baker was one of those quarterbacks. Baker's tackling people himself.
So yeah, that's a Baker Mayfield type of like style. That's his style for sure. But because Trevor's come off of 2 seasons with injuries, like you do just have to wonder the different decisions that they're going to make. All right, on the other side, we will get it to Pete Prisco's top 100 players. There are 2 Jaguars in it. Did he leave any Jaguars out? We'll get to that and more. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Turn on your radio. We'll bring the game to you.
Here we go. 4th and a yard.
Jacksonville's play-by-play sports radio, 1010XL.
Hey, John, have you seen the exciting 2025 lineup at Randy Marion Cadillac?
They've got the Lyric, IQ, Optique, and the stunning Vistique. It's a Cadillac lover's dream.
And the best part, over 100 new Cadillacs are in stock and ready for you to drive home today.
Plus, it's the perfect time to trade in your Tesla and experience luxury performance like never before.
Visit us today at Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville.
Don't miss out on these incredible vehicles. Your new Cadillac awaits.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Yo, E.T. here, and I need you to beat the heat this summer with cool escapes and non-stop fun in Clay County. Tackle indoor adventures head on. Throw axes at Live by Axe or smash your stress away at Just Smash That. Then kick back with drinks, good food, and fandom vibes at Nakama Anime Bar or Leaderboard Arcade and Bar. Whether you're blowing off steam or just looking to chill, Clay County got your perfect indoor getaway. Find your cool at exploreclay.com. That's exploreclay.com.
I'm Max Fink. Join me for the Gator Report on 1010XL as I break down the latest storylines in Gator Nation.
Put together by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators!
Poker fans, ready to ride the waves and win big? Join us at Best Bet St. Augustine for the Summer Splash giveaway. Over $40,000 in prizes are up for grabs, including a 2025 Yamaha Wave Runner. Join us now through August 8th to earn entries into the big giveaways. Every hour of poker play and table game play earns you an entry. The more you play, the more chances to win. Come play and win big at Best Bet St. Augustine. Visit bestbetjacks.com for details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Is your roof ready for hurricane season? When storms hit, you need more than just a roof. You need trust. Valor Roofing Company is veteran-owned and operated, serving all of Florida with integrity and quality craftsmanship. From minor repairs to full replacements, they'll treat your home like it's their own. Estimates are always free, and veterans receive a special discount on all roofing services. Visit ValorRoofingCo.com and protect your home with people who care. GAF certified license CCC 1334864.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
It's a battle for the playoffs as your Sharks take on the first place Steamwheelers. Catch all the action this Saturday, June 21st at 7. Discover the thrill of indoor football. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and full of family fun. Try the new 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card for only $100. Get tickets at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700.
Prosser here. Come cheer on the Sharks as they circle a playoff bid. It's Star Wars night presented by HCA Florida Healthcare. Dress up in your favorite costume. Get photos with your favorite Star Wars characters before the game. The first 1,000 kids get a free lightsaber. Join us on the field after the game for a free autograph session and special jersey auction. Tickets start at just $15. Call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. Sharks football, where memories are made.
Go Sharks!
certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
I've been having knee problems for probably 6 months, and my knee was getting worse, and I had heard about Southeast Orthopedics on the radio, and I gave them a call. They got me right in. Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. It was painless, and it's been doing fantastic. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Doll, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. By the way, going to a concert tonight, I could not be more excited. I have been looking forward to seeing Dylan Marlowe in concert for so long.
Nice.
Bailey Zimmerman's the headliner, but Dylan Marlowe is the opening act, and I honestly like him even more than I like Bailey Zimmerman, which happens from time to time.
Yeah.
But I love every Dylan Marlowe song, so cannot wait to see him tonight, and I will share more next week because I'm off tomorrow. All right, let's get it to Pete Prisco's top 100. There are 2 Jacksonville Jaguars in his top 100. You have Brian Thomas Jr., the wide receiver, at 44, and then Josh Hines Allen, the pass rusher, at 76. Let's first talk about those 2. Do you like where those are positioned? For me, Josh Hines Allen is probably a little too low in that, but I think BTJ, after only 1 year, seems fitting.
A little too low, but also if you go back in the time machine and you see Pete's top 100s from the season prior to Josh Hines Allen's career high 17.5 sack season in 2023, I think I don't even know if he cracked the top 100 that year.
And then last year he was 23rd.
Right. So this is very fluid. Blake Bortles
Yeah.
has been in these top 100s before too, folks. So this is a very fluid situation. But ultimately, I think, yes, based off the production from a year ago, as unfair as that may be, I think it's fair. My question is, where's Trayvon Walker?
And that's when you talk about other Jaguars players who should probably be in the top 100, it does feel like Trayvon should have cracked at least the 90 through 100.
I would think so, considering he is only the second player in franchise history to have back-to-back, he's the first since Calais, and he's the first homegrown player, I think, since Brackens is the stat, to have double-digit back-to-back seasons in the history of the franchise, not to mention how many players in the National Football League can say that they've had double-digit back-to-back seasons outside of that upper echelon of the Trey Hendricksons, the TJ Watts of the world.
Like Jalen Ramsey's in here in this top 100 at 99. I don't think
and that in and of itself says a lot.
Yeah, I don't think that there's an NFL defensive coordinator who would take Jalen Ramsey over Trayvon Walker. That's how I look at it. Once upon a time, sure, Jalen was one of the best corners, but not anymore.
Yeah, I think that people still see Jalen up there, and I think it slowly started to kind of go away. But then when he's been healthy recently, he's still been a good corner. He's just kind of battled injuries that he didn't before. A lot of people are saying, though, it's kind of time to maybe make that switch and go to the safety position, which he said he's opening to doing. If they do that, he'll be one of the best safeties on any team. But I do think that, and that's coming from someone who does not like Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, I just don't think he's fast enough anymore, but continue.
Yeah, I think that it's hard, and I get people in the argument for Trayvon Walker, but I do think Josh Hines Allen is the last defensive end on this list at 76, and there's not a ton of them on the list in the first place. And so I do think that when this list is so hard. Like I couldn't imagine having to make a list like this, and Prisco does it obviously every year. But you see there's a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of wide receivers, a lot of those like weapons that are shiny and easier to kind of grade are the ones that I feel like are a little bit easier to rank on this. When it comes to offensive linemen and defensive ends outside of those like top 10 defensive ends in the league, I do think it gets a little more difficult. And I think that pretty much because Josh Hines-Allen is 76, and to most people would say he's your best player on your defense. And at this point in time, that I very well think that Trayvon Walker after this season will burst into this thing. But I think just because of how low you do have Josh Hines-Allen, and most people consider him better than Trayvon Walker, then you're not going to put Trayvon on this list right now.
It's important to note, though, Taylor, that, again, this is a reflection of last year.
Yeah.
Because Zach Bond is 40th.
Yeah.
In this top 100. Most people didn't know who
this
Zach
is
Bond
2025.
was.
Like, this is his projecting of what.
Right.
Because it says his NFL top 100 players of 2025. So he's kind of saying, all right, this is what I see in last year. People in new spots, does that benefit them? Does it hurt them? What he's kind of expecting to happen this year is what I'm taking from this list by some of the things. And yeah, Zach Bond had an incredible year last year. Before that, nobody really ever talked about him. So my guess is that he says he fits so well on the Philly defense that you're just going to continue to see him get better too.
Yeah, and I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But again, this is also based off of what we saw from last year and projecting to this year.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, based on what we saw last year and projecting to this year and projecting to the hope that finally the Jaguars got it right with their defensive coordinator hire and their defensive scheme, in turn, Trayvon Walker, yes, should be in this list in my estimation.
Probably Foye Oluokun deserves at least discussing. I understand how bad the Jaguars defense was last year, so it's hard to think that those guys are going to be elevated in the minds of people around the league, and especially Pete watches the Jaguars closely, so he understands. But Foye Oluokun is one of the best middle linebackers in the NFL.
Yeah, but how many off-ball linebackers even got?
Yeah, there's not a lot. That's what I was kind of going through positionally, and that's even, I think the defensive ends that people talk about and are talked about as being the best in the league right now are all on the list. And I went through and I looked at all the pass rush numbers for all of them that were on the list. They're all the ones that are in the top 10, 12. Trayvon was outside of that. When you look at just true pass rush win rate, which, by the way, looking at that, Devin Lloyd had like the 8th highest pass rush win rate of any linebacker last year. That popped out to me. But I do think this list is hard, and it also changes sometimes like week to week, and things kind of go back and forth. But I do think that when you look at it, it is a combination of career and then also kind of recency. And so having to do that as a combination, I think, is a little difficult, because when you're talking about like Devontae Adams on here is 91, Travis Kelce is 96.
Right. Travis plummeted.
Yeah. And so to me, that's okay. Travis Kelce is one of the best tight ends to ever play football. And he had one season that wasn't incredible, and he drops to 96. So I think you can make arguments for a lot of these of where they should not be. But I do think for the most part, in my opinion, Prisco does a good job. I would say the two players on here are the two players that should have been on here. Maybe Foye, but I do think because of that position that it's not.
So he has a few, though, I would say, inside linebackers on the list.
No, he doesn't. I just went through and counted. He's got Fred Warner, who I think we can all agree is a top 50 player in the National Football League. He's got Micah Parsons, who I wouldn't even really consider a Mike linebacker.
Outside,
he's outside. Zach Bond, who we noted, but even then, the Eagles at times deployed him out on the edge. And
Roquan Smith, Bobby Wagner.
Who's
that's it, which...
Roquan's like the best off-ball linebacker.
Right. And so that's it.
It's hard to put Foye in there because of that conversation alone.
He's got Dak Prescott at 90th. Obviously, no Trevor Lawrence in this. If we're a year from now and Trevor's not in this top 100, we're having different conversations than we've been having.
Yeah.
I think the conversations now are with all the weapons, with Liam Cohen, with a better offensive line. Trevor Lawrence is going to have one of his best seasons yet. If he's not in the top 100 next June, then we're saying that one of those things didn't work out, whether the offensive line wasn't improved or Liam Cohen's scheme didn't help, or these weapons, regardless of how good they are, weren't able to help Trevor, or he wasn't able to stay healthy once again.
Correct. Yes. Considering Jalen Hurts.
There's a long list of excuses for Trevor.
Right. Considering Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl and he's 52nd on this list. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
it's tough to crack.
It is.
But to be clear, you need to be in this list.
The Dak Prescott conversation is always, I think, so interesting every single year. And he had one of his, obviously 2 years ago, had one of his best career years ever. And then you kind of, it's always up and down with him. And then you talk about the playoff and that, how much does that factor in, which has been the conversation with Lamar too. But I saw an article actually the other day that said somebody asked all 32 NFL head coaches if they would take Dak Prescott or their current quarterback, and only 4 said they would keep their current quarterback.
Yeah.
Which was obviously Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and I think Lamar.
So Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni is taking Dak Prescott over Jalen Hurts. Like that.
That's what it said.
Might
4
need
guys
to
said
be
hands down they would
seen by a psychologist. I mean, Dak Prescott has moments, sure, but in clutch times, I feel like that's when he plays his worst football, to your point. But yeah, when I give all those things that could go wrong with the Jaguars offense, to me, those aren't excuses for Trevor. It also could be Trevor doesn't play well. Like, that is another option, so to speak. That's another thing that could happen. But if everything goes the way that this regime is counting on, then he needs to be in the top 100 next year.
And Travis Hunter will be in the top 100, so long as he stays healthy, knock on all the wood you can find.
Yeah,
like
Tyson Campbell, I think, is a conversation too, should be in the top 100 if you don't not saying right now, I'm saying a year from now if he plays well and stays healthy.
I mean, I think more likely Travis Hunter finds a way, especially if he's able to contribute on both sides of the ball.
That's what, if Travis Hunter does significant things on each side of the ball, let's say he has 1,000+ receiving yards and has a few picks, he'll be on this list, and he'll be, I think, pretty high pretty quickly. And I was looking, like, Ladd McConkey's on this list, and I was just going through some of, like, the new guys. Bucky Irving's on this list. So you can get there quickly, you just, and with those big splash seasons. And so I do think that if Travis Hunter, honestly, I think if Travis Hunter has a season where just receiving-wise he has 13, 14.
Like, you're saying, okay, so you want into 1,000.
Yeah, and that's it, then he's already on it. But if he's doing both at like 1,000 and then a couple picks or even big plays defensively, he's going to be on this list.
We completely bypassed. He's got BTJ 46.
Yeah.
He's entering year 2. Like, that is some rare.
He's very high on BTJ.
Rare company.
Yeah, but I think that's where he belongs.
I do too.
Yeah, me too.
But that's.
But Prisco's also the one who just last week tweeted out, like, Brian Thomas Jr. is not getting enough attention because of the whole Travis Hunter thing. He is an elite receiver. And I think the people who study film, we talked about Benjamin Solak saying that about him too from ESPN. Like, if you look at it.
44th. And then he's got neighbors right behind him at 45th, not 46. So even higher than I thought.
Yeah. And if you watch film, you understand this guy could be as good as A.J. Brown, who is widely considered as the best receiver in all of the NFL.
Oh, no. He could be Jay Jettis. Jay Jettis is the best
Justin
receiver.
Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
And I think he's, that's what Pete said last week. And I agree.
A.J. Brown is, I think, a guy that's certainly in the top 3. If you look at certain rankings, some people would say, it's Justin Jefferson 1, A.J. Brown 2, Jamar Chase 3. Jamar Chase just won the Triple Crown when it comes to receiving. So there's a lot of really good receivers in this league. So for Brian Thomas to crack the top 50 is an excellent thing. But now he needs to continue it. By the way, Pete is smarter than Nick Sirianni, clearly, because Jalen Hurts is 52nd. And Dak Prescott 90th.
There are, like, it's hard to even take in everything. Like, as you're scrolling, you're trying to, like, put a bunch of pieces together, and there's some people that, like, you hesitate, and then you're like, nah, like, I could probably see it. Like, one of the ones that I know people are going to get mad at me about this one, but I think he has Nico Collins too low. Nico Collins, to me, is a better receiver than 67. I know the injuries last year is factoring into that, but there's, like, other guys he has ahead that have struggled with injuries a lot that he doesn't even mention that, and they're still highly ranked. So that's a little strange to me, because I just think that he leads in almost every stat when it's like yards per route ran and separation routes and all of these things, and he's just so good. It was just unfortunate, not for us, but for the Texans last year, that that CJ Stroud didn't even have the time to try and find Nico Collins at a lot of time periods.
I don't think people will get mad at you. It's okay.
Oh, I think they get mad.
I think they only get mad if it's the Bears.
Like, to a divisional, divisional players they don't like you to give credit to.
I mean, we had to give credit to Derrick Henry for years upon years. So not just because he's from around these parts either. All right, Taylor has a tangent on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Home of the Jaguars. Follow every play, interview, and press conference.
We're really working, trying to get better.
1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Call 904-500-COOL. Ideal Conditions.
Ideal Conditions Heating and Air Conditioning is your go-to for all AC repairs and replacements. Just gas your AC. For exceptional service, call 904-500-COOL or visit idealconditionsjax.com to schedule your estimate today.
Call 904-500-COOL.
Honk if you see us. Call for service.
Ideal Conditions.
Idealconditionsjax.com.
Soft takes are boring. That's why I dropped the hammer on the Frangie Show. I'm Hayes Carlyon. Listen for Hammer Time with Hayes, weekday afternoons on 1010XL.
Hammer Time with Hayes, driven by Kia on Atlantic.
The best golfing weather is upon us, and Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to enjoy your next round of golf with us. Our welcoming atmosphere and love for golf keep our friends coming back. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 19, 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers win their first title after beating the Golden State Warriors in Game 7, the first team to overcome a 3-1 deficit.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T here, and I know that getting into an accident is stressful, but getting the proper care doesn't have to be. That's why I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. Even if you're at fault, your insurance covers you. And remember, you have the right to choose your own doctor. Even a minor accident can cause whiplash for years if it goes untreated. So don't wait. Call the auto accident experts at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Your recovery starts today.
When was the first cruise ship voyage?
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The first cruise voyage was on the Princessin Victoria Louise, which set sail on her maiden voyage in January of 1901.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
North Florida is growing with lots of new families joining our community. If you're one of them making the move here, your next move should be a call to American Electrical to create the best home automation system, enhancing your living experience. There are many ways your life can be made easier through smart home technology, voice-activated systems, automated lighting, total house temperature control. With American Electrical, they've got everything you need to automate your home and make it your true oasis. Check out American-Electrical.com. Powered by professionalism and raising the excellence bar.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold's recently hit an all-time high at over $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Hey, Hickett here for my friends at Zero Res. Gang, vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet, period. Do not, let me repeat, do not leave deep cleaning to yourself, but do it yourself dirt attracting carpet soaking machines. No. Call on the cleaning freaks from Zero Res. Big summer savings. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. Take 20% off air duct cleaning as well. Call them, 904-287-5727, and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spelled forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text KETTLE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text KETTLE to 321-321. That's KETTLE to 321-321.
1010.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Should have been different, but it wasn't different, was it? Same old story, dear John, so long. It should have felt like a glove.
I think we've had this conversation that I was like, who's covering the Chicks?
Yeah. He does it's MGK, but it's like a bit of it, like a bit of the song, and then it's like his own song, but I don't know what that's called when you just take a sample of a song and add it and then make your own song. So he has a few of those that he does, but yeah, because you were like, nobody could do that. It's I was like, it's not a full cover.
Just relax. We've talked about this, Taylor. Your band, Bill Murray, does a duet. I say duet, not really duet, but that's more like guy and girl.
Yeah.
But they have a song together, collab, that's what it's called, with Dylan Marlowe.
Yeah.
And in it is the part that we've played on the show about the
Gentlemen Start Your Engines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, God Bless America.
I know. I was like, if he plays that tonight, you better send me a video.
You know I will.
And you said he does a couple other like fun covers too.
He does. Mr. Brightside, 1985. He's got a much, I would say Dylan Marlowe, while he's very twangy country, he's also definitely got like a pop punk, like somewhere deep in his soul. And you can just tell.
Maybe he was raised on that
country,
and then, because I feel like was a thing / is a thing right now where a lot of the people that grew up in like pop punk world have turned to like this country because it's turned to more like old feeling country than not the poppy country, and they like that, so they all love Zach Bryan and Tyler Childers and all of those guys. So I do think that because of that, maybe it comes from that a little bit.
Maybe. Yeah, we shall see.
I heard Thomas Rhett cover a Lil Wayne song once upon a time early in his career. So I'm here for all the crossover.
Love it.
Yeah, I am good with that. And yeah, I'll report back, I said. All right, right now, Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
Okay, so we didn't really talk about it. I don't know if we talked about it at all yesterday, but congratulations to the Florida Panthers who won
that's right.
Round of applause.
Yeah, it's an old hat at this point. They already won. They've damaged the cup to this point.
Yeah,
the traveling replica cup, that is.
There are some hilarious videos going on. This is not my tangent brought to you by Chick-fil-A, but side note that because if you have not looked at any of the videos from Celebration and from the guys having the cup, go on, because it's always hilarious to see what different guys do in general. But I saw one of Barkov, and he was going around at 5 a.m. ringing his neighbor's doorbells with the cup and was like, do you want to see it? I was like, could you imagine waking up and be like, who's at my door? And it's the Stanley Cup.
Standing there.
That is wild. I did think about the fact that Floridians should probably not travel to Canada in the near future. Canadians must hate Floridians right now.
Yeah. That a little bit related to that. So anyways, congrats to the Florida Panthers. They won 5-1 on Tuesday night over the Oilers, back-to-back times for them, back-to-back beating the Oilers. So the Oilers definitely not happy about that.
And the Oilers still have the best odds as far as to win the cup next year. I'm like,
they keep doing that. They want Canada to win so bad.
Yeah,
it's like
Vegas is wrong.
Yeah. But so we know the stat for Canada. It's been 32 years since they have won. Any team in a Canadian team has won a Stanley Cup, and now the state of Florida has won 4 of the last 6. So that's wild. But another stat and another unfortunate streak that has continued now is a guy named Corey Perry. I don't know if you guys know this guy, but an NHL player who's played on several teams. He's been in the league for a while. But he becomes the first NHL player to lose 4 finals with 4 different teams. He's now lost 5 finals in the last 6 years.
Oh, my God.
By the way. So here's
I would kick him off my team, by the way.
So nobody signed Corey Perry this offseason because you're not going to win a cup if that happens.
No.
But listen to the streak. Okay, so in 2019-2020, he played for Dallas. The Stars lost in the finals to Tampa in 6 games that year. It was a Game 6 shutout. In 2020 to 2021, he played for Montreal. Tampa beat Montreal in 5 games, outscoring them 17-8 in that series. Then he goes to play for the team that beat him with the Lightning. So he played with Tampa, spent 2 seasons there, where in 21-22, Colorado Avalanche beat the Lightning in 6 games at home. And then the next year, he gets a little break here, guys. Yeah, in 2022-2023, Tampa Bay just gets knocked out in the first round against Toronto. And then
not his fault.
He goes to Edmonton, and the last 2 years has now lost to the Florida Panthers and the Stanley Cup as an Oiler.
But no one signed him, so he got re-signed.
I think he's still technically on the Oilers right now. We'll see.
But
what
last
happens.
off season was he was already under
an
contract.
Oiler this year. Yeah, he signed a 2-year. I think, or I think they signed him for a year, and then he re-signed last year after they lost.
They were willing. I was going to say they were willing. That's my
the history,
here.
the baggage that comes with Corey Perry.
Yeah, so bad luck for teams to have Corey Perry. He does have a Stanley Cup from towards the beginning of his career.
Oh, okay.
He does have one, but he's lost a lot recently. But I also was kind of laughing at this because I was like, this man has to hate Florida teams because he loses to Tampa twice, loses to Florida twice, and then when he goes to Tampa, they get knocked out in the first round and then lose the Stanley Cup too.
I mean, there's heartbreak and then there's like devastation in sports. And heartbreak would be like if you're, a member of the Bills and you make it to the Super Bowl multiple times in the 90s and you never win.
Yeah.
And then there's this guy who's now been in the Stanley. I mean, like you said, he already has one. But that aside, he's now been in the Stanley Cup final multiple times and lost every time recently.
And just has to watch all of these Florida teams beat him every time. And then when he finally was probably like, yes, I'm going to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going to get a Stanley Cup. And they
Not
lose.
so fast, my friend. All right, let's make some people, maybe even Oilers fans, happy right now, Taylor.
Yeah, if you're hungry, we are giving away lunch to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. I'll say caller number 5, get some Chick-fil-A lunch.
So, yeah, it felt like the momentum was all on the side of the Panthers, and they were going to close it out, like you said, on Tuesday night. They'd played so well, and the games weren't going to overtime anymore, so it just felt like that was what was going to happen. On the flip side, tonight we have Thunder at the Pacers tipping off at 8:30. It feels to me like the Thunder have momentum, but this is in Indiana, so that causes a little bit of concern. The only thing is we don't know if Tyrese Halliburton is going to play. So,
Have they not said anything yet?
He confirmed it's a calf strain, and so it's...
But, yeah, they still said he's questionable for tonight's game. But, yeah, if the Thunder are able to continue riding that momentum and not just SGA playing well, but other guys, I feel like then the Thunder win Game 6.
Oh, we got some breaking news right on cue. Thank you, Shams, the man, the myth, the legend. Go ahead, RJ.
He was listening.
Now, breaking news.
According
listening while he was joining McAfee.
Shams Charania live on the Pat McAfee show, Tyrese Halliburton is fully intending to be out there tonight. He is going to gut it out.
I can't picture a world where you don't.
Yeah.
The one thing is how much, and we had this conversation after the game, that how much are you hurting or helping your team at this point? Because when you have a guy like TJ McConnell come in and do what he did, would you rather give him more minutes because he was able to step in moments when he did it? And we've all seen the Halliburton games throughout the postseason, and was that it? And then now you get back the Tyrese Halliburton that is the game-winning shot Halliburton, and it takes you to Game 7. So I do think for this, that balance of trying to figure out if he's hurting you, like there were moments in that last game he was hurting them, then you can't let him play the minutes that maybe you want him to.
You
play.
can let him gut it out. You can let him play. Yeah. I don't know if I start him.
Yeah.
RJ, what say you? Are you starting Tyrese Halliburton tonight? Because I think you have to, because you also want to send this message of he is the face of your franchise. This is do or die, win or lose the NBA Finals. So I think you have to start him. But then, yes, to Taylor's point, maybe the leash is not as long as it was in Game 5.
So you want to treat this like Willis Reed and the Knicks when they were against the Lakers? I mean, I can understand, I think a calf strain it's different than, let's just say like a sprained ankle or something like that. This is going to be a wounded warrior that's going to be out there, and if
looking for a Kurt Schilling game, he's trying to get a bloody sock or something like that. I don't know if you could get that from a calf strain,
right?
If he has blood out there, that means he's been shot in the calf.
Yeah, exactly.
Something has gone drastically wrong.
But if OKC smells blood in the water, I mean, if I were SGA or I'm Jalen Williams, I mean, I'm telling my head coach whatever the game plan was for like the first 5 minutes, F all of it. Listen, Jalen, if he's on you, 1-4 flat, and we're staying out of your way. Let's see how good that calf is. And SGA, if you get it, you want to know what play we're running? 1-4 flat, and that we're just going to continue doing that. And I'll look at Rick Carlisle and say, take your boy out, take him out. It's going to be a long night if you don't take him out. And guess what? We got a whole 48 minutes to do this. So I understand it's a must-win situation if you want to keep the series going, but if I'm OKC, I'm taking complete advantage of this. I really want to see how good that calf is before, we're giving him any sort of
round of applause just for being out there. So, I mean, I could possibly hear from people, the next day, Indiana, OKC was wrong for doing what they did to Tyrese Halliburton. Well, Indiana, you were wrong for letting him out there if this goes south. So let's see what happens tonight. Hopefully we can get a good game out of Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, I applaud, the heart, but heart only takes you so far in my book. So let's see what happens.
Speaking of books, our friends at Hard Rock Sportsbook have the Oklahoma City Thunder as a 6-point favorite as of this writing. However, you can get Indiana at Hard Rock right now at plus 190 on the money line. We'll see if the news that, again, just broke from Shams Charania of ESPN, let's see if that shifts it at all. But, ultimately, we saw this same player go 0 for 6 from the floor 2 nights ago. And so can he truly bounce back to where he would have an impact, not just on the point spread, but on the game itself?
Yeah, the hard part is he's your clutch player. And so I would almost not start him, let him rest. And then if you are close at the end, say, all right.
Those big moments
absolutely.
in the fourth.
Like now, I don't care how your calf feels tomorrow. Just go hit some shots. But it's certainly going to be a challenge.
Or if you go down a lot, throw him in and be like, try and figure something out.
Yeah, limp, but just shoot the ball well if you could. By the way, I did see that Walter Clayton Jr., the Florida outstanding point guard, has been invited to New York City to attend the 2025 NBA draft in the green room. So that tells me that his camp has gotten word that he will go in the first or second round, most likely the first round. Might
even be the lottery. All right, now we're talking.
Maybe even linked to Orlando like we've talked about. And by the way, the Lakers sold for $10 billion. RJ, your family just bought the Lakers, right? That was you that completed that transaction?
Yeah, I put in about $10.75.
Solid investment when you consider the Luka era is about to begin.
Right.
So,
yeah, Jeannie Buss and the fam decided to sell, and it's the same guy who owns the Dodgers. Yeah. Can you imagine owning the Dodgers and the Lakers?
Gosh. They couldn't let Dreamfinders Homes and the Tampa Bay Rays have their moment for more than a couple of hours.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Lakers had to just dive into the fray and steal the headlines. RJ, you're our resident, not only NBA expert here on 1010XL, but you are from Southern California. You are a diehard Lakers fan. You tell us what this move signifies for you for the LA Lakers.
The mom and pop era is over. That's done. And I think the Los Angeles Lakers as a franchise, as a team, I think that's how they've been running since the great Dr. Jerry Buss has passed on. I think it's been a lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of guys they were close to during that time. I think when you sell the team like this to a conglomerate that is owners of the Dodgers, I mean, what was one of the biggest things they were doing? I understand the Ohtani deal, but they've done a great job of kind of building around that when it comes to scouting departments, training staff, all that stuff that you need to put around an organization in order to be a great team. I think what they did, Lauren, I think you can probably correct me if I'm wrong. I think they took one of the top scouts from the Tampa Bay Rays, the Dodgers did, and made him a GM. I believe that was the case. Mm-hmm. I think that the ownership group, if they're going to treat the Lakers as the Dodgers and just say, listen, we're going to get back to winning championships, because, I mean, the Lakers outside of the bubble championship, if you want to call it, I mean, over the last 10 to 15 years, they haven't been that team to where you're saying they're a perennial championship contender every year. And that was even after the Luka Doncic trade, in which they're trying to figure out this summer. So I think that a lot of those individuals that Jeannie Buss and the Lakers brass have been so used to, if this ownership group is thinking championships, maybe they say, listen, those guys got to go. We got to put in the requisite guys that are going to be able to get the job done, going to be able to foresee things and see things that are in this new era, so we can compete with teams that are kind of forward thinking, like Oklahoma City, or if you want to put the Indiana Pacers in there, or just those young upstart up and coming teams, maybe even somewhere like the Golden State Warriors, where they've been able to be successful for years because they dive in deeper than what the LA Lakers have done over the past decade and a half. So I understand people from a money aspect think that they're going to try to, pull some sort of Ohtani type deal for a player, I don't know, like a Giannis, and say, well, we'll give it all back to you in crypto or something like that. I don't think that that's just that kind of a move. deep pockets aspect is cool because I think they won't have any sort of issue going into the luxury tax. I mean, having the money in which they have, but I think just the aspects of things that will be around the Los Angeles Lakers that they're going to improve upon for that group. I think that's going to be something for the Los Angeles Lakers that they'll really look at and say, this is more of a benefit to us, even though it is tough and the Buss family is synonymous with the Lakers and forever will be. I mean, long after this sale, I just think it was kind of time for new voices, new management, new ownership.
Are you excited?
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, I'll always thank the Buss family for what they did. I mean, half of my basketball life is, all centered around the Buss family in terms of the Los Angeles Lakers. But every time I would argue after Dr. Buss passed, here's Jeannie Buss hiring, Kobe's agent, or she's hiring a former head coach that had ties to the Lakers, or, they used to coach under Phil Jackson, hire them. Like it was never something that was different. It wasn't something that was new. And I think for them, and also for us delusional Lakers fans, as we can be at times, we always want to say, 17 championships, that's what we have. I mean, you should come to LA. It's not that hard of a decision to make. Well, the league has changed. A lot of things have changed. You have to be forward thinking like a Golden State. You have to be forward thinking like an Oklahoma City Thunder team if you really want to compete with some of the elites, not just in the Western Conference, but the entire NBA. I think this puts you kind of in the blueprint era of what that is going to be. Not saying that you're going to win a championship year one, although I will talk all my stuff if we do. But I think that this organization and this conglomerate group is going to place the Lakers in the right direction for down the line, that they can be successful. Now, although I say that, Matt Ishbia in Phoenix thought that he could kind of, just buy the team, get everyone and their mother along with the roster. And as you can see, now you're trying to trade Kevin Durant. You're probably stuck on the books with Bradley Beal from now until forever. So you didn't see success like you would have thought if you are a Phoenix Suns fan. But I think this group is going to get it right with the Los Angeles Lakers. Knock on wood with that. So definitely excited for the new era, but I don't think anybody should be ashamed, by what we've seen with the Buss family and what they've been able to do since, Dr. Buss had bought the Los Angeles Lakers. I believe that was in the 60s, and to see his daughter and to see what she's been able to do since her dad has passed, nothing short of just, a round of applause for her and that great family. I mean, they're always going to be just that team that I associate with the Lakers.
Andrew Friedman is the executive that the Dodgers got from the Rays about 11 years ago now. I didn't know that much about the Buss family, and then I watched that but the show, Showtime, documenting the Lakers back then when they originally got Magic Johnson, and that's when I was introduced to Jeannie as a kid, and certainly Dr. Buss and all the decisions that were made back then. I know that some people didn't like the way that certain people were presented in that show, and so there were people that said it's not that accurate, don't watch it, but it was entertaining, I'll give you that. All right, I've got a college football question for the ladies on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's tough stuff, and when you lose, it all comes down on
1010XL.
When you put it all together and you win, it's the greatest feeling in the world. It's like winning the Super Bowl.
Always in pursuit of greatness.
Plumbing problems? AC not blowing? Septic tank doing whatever septic tanks do? Don't call 3 different companies and play contractor roulette. Just call Duck Duck Rooter. Waddle over to duckduckrooter.com. When you're stuck, call the duck.
Hey, Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here. It's the little things like a peach milkshake on a warm day that makes summer sweet. And now you can head to your local Chick-fil-A and enjoy a favorite summer treat again. Hand-spun the old-fashioned way, this refreshing milkshake features Chick-fil-A ice cream and peaches. It's the perfect cold treat to enjoy outside on a warm day or with your friends and family after dinner. And it's here for just a limited time, so swing by your local Chick-fil-A and treat yourself today.
Mia here for Closets by Design. It's been a few months since they built my custom closet, and you know how much I love it. My family is obsessed. With summer here, why not finally create that custom garage workspace you and your dad want? Think tool storage, workbenches, a place for everything to go. Closets by Design creates custom solutions for every space, lifestyle, and budget. That includes all you guys. Call to schedule your free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off. ClosetsByDesign.com.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to DreamfindersHomes.com for more details.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
It's a battle for the playoffs as your Sharks take on the first place Steamwheelers. Catch all the action this Saturday, June 21st at 7. Discover the thrill of indoor football. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and full of family fun. Try the new 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card for only $100. Get tickets at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700.
Prosser here. Come cheer on the Sharks as they circle a playoff bid. It's Star Wars night presented by HCA Florida Healthcare. Dress up in your favorite costume. Get photos with your favorite Star Wars characters before the game. The first 1,000 kids get a free lightsaber. Join us on the field after the game for a free autograph session and special jersey auction. Tickets start at just $15. Call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. Sharks football, where memories are made. Go Sharks!
Spring has sprung, and so have the bugs. It's Hayes Carline and my friends at Kingfish Pest Control offer an exclusive $99 spring special. That's right, your initial pest control service is just $99. And if you call today, they'll include a free one-time mosquito treatment. Kingfish Pest Control is family-owned, 5-star rated with no binding contracts, and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Call them now to book your service. Only at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. You're on-road, you're off-road, now you're on the water. Greg, tell everybody what Coach and Honda is offering in the form of boats.
We've got the Honda boat, which is a great runabout fisherman. We've got the Coach boats that are fantastic for getting out with a family. Nice lay-down beds, all with that legendary Honda motor on.
Check them all out. They're waiting for you. You can see how you can be on the water with Honda or with Coach pontoon boats. Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm RJ Saunders, 41010XL. This update brought to you by Southern Oak Insurance. The Orlando Magic added shooting depth and playmaking when they acquired shooting guard Desmond Bane from Memphis. And although he loved his tenure while with the Grizzlies, the three-point marksman said Orlando was one place he saw himself fitting in with perfectly if he were to be traded.
I mean, I was talking with my agent prior to everything going down after the season ended, and you know, if there was ever any chance I get traded, like, where's some of the spots you want to go? And I mean, I promise you, Orlando was right at the top of the list. So it's a perfect fit.
Florida standout Walter Clayton Jr. is among the 24 prospects who will be invited to the 2025 NBA draft per ESPN. Right now, 91 degrees at 102, time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Daddy's truck, daddy's bottle, open top, open throttle, 87 and 80 proof, running through my veins.
This is Morgan Wallen. I saw Dale Earnhardt's family said that they appreciate Morgan Wallen putting Dale Earnhardt into his lyrics, that people are still connecting with the story of Dale Earnhardt Sr. because of songs like this.
When you led the show by saying how last night was a quiet night in sports outside the College World Series and some baseball games, and so what else are you supposed to watch? We did continue watching the Earnhardt documentary on Amazon Prime, and it's very, very well done. And a lot of stuff that I know I didn't previously know, in particular.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I need to.
His friendship with Neil Bonnet, who unfortunately we lost back in '94 on the same track that then we lost Dale Sr. The fact that Dale Jr. got sent to military school, then Kerry decides to go to military. It's fascinating.
I haven't watched it yet, but I've seen so many people talking about how good it was. I need to watch it.
I know Prosser spent like a whole episode of The Drill just talking about the Earnhardt documentary. It is well worth a watch. It is 4 parts, an hour each. So carve out some time. Watch it over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I will. That song called Number 3 and Number 7 refers to, of course, Number 3 being Dale Earnhardt, but Number 7 being Jack Daniels. And the song's about don't mix driving fast as well as drinking. All right, so in college football, the FSU Seminoles from 1987 to 2000 finished in the top 5 of all college football every single year during that time frame. If you don't do math well in your head, that's 14 years. 14 years of straight top 5 finishes. If you're wondering the next closest, that would be Oklahoma, who did it in the 50s, and then Alabama, who did it for just 5 years in a row, 2014 to 2018. So no one has come close to 14 straight top 5 finishes, even like I said, going back to Oklahoma in the 50s. So if there's a team that's going to be able to break that and one day finish in the top 5, 15 straight years, who would it be? Taylor, I'll start with you.
Yeah, my initial reaction is to say Ohio State.
Okay.
Which I hate, by the way. I don't want to say that. But I just think that Ohio State seems like that program, and now we've seen they're willing to put money into what they need to do also, and I think that Ryan Day...
They're always willing, it just wasn't legal.
Yeah, it wasn't allowed, but just saying some schools aren't as willing to throw a lot of dollars at a lot of players, and what they did last year after already having a really good running back was like, let's get another one and see how, let's pay this guy and see how this works out, and it worked out. So I do think they're smart in that sense. Every single year when you see all of the most college players in the NFL, Ohio State's in the top 3. It's usually Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. They're just so good at being able to obviously recruit, but developing talent. And I think that Ryan Day got over that hump this last year that was kind of lingering over him for a long time.
Still hasn't been Michigan in a while, but yeah.
But winning that national championship this last year, and after losing to Michigan when everybody was putting him on the hot seat big time, I think that takes a little bit of pressure off of Ryan Day. And it's just hard for me. I don't want to say Ohio State, but it's hard for me not to say, because I just feel like we're going to see them continue to be as competitive as they are. And you even when you look at kind of the college polls from the last whatever years, they're 3, 5, 4, 4, 1 this last year, obviously. And so they're always in that. They have a few years that have kind of broken up those streaks. And I think they'll be able to kind of level that out now with NIL and portal and all of that stuff.
Mia?
So I, of course, had to go back and actually look if this is on the table for anyone right now. And I'm just like, okay, is there anybody who's already halfway there or 3/4 of the way there?
No, because the next closest right now would have been Alabama with 5 in a row from 2014 to 2018.
But it was snapped. And even then, they at least were in the top 5, which is weird for me when I look back on the last few seasons of college football. They finished in the top 5, albeit not making the 4-team college football playoff in both 23 and 22. And so at least you could say, well, top 5, banners fly forever. We're putting you in the top 5. There's no one right now. This is as open as it comes. And so, yes, I would agree with Taylor. I think Ohio State, as much as we discussed earlier in the week on the program, this idea of Oregon has a defensive-minded head coach, but he's been able to find quarterbacks in the portal year in, year out, and compete, albeit not then win the big one once you get to the postseason. At the same time, as much as I am confident in Dan Lanning to continue to create a winning product in the Pacific Northwest, I don't know if it's ever going to, outside of finally striking gold and finding that guy, I don't think it's going to turn into this year-over-year college football playoff Final Four team remaining product. I just don't know if that sort of sustainability is possible in the world of a 12-team, 16-team college football playoff.
I think if Texas and Oklahoma were still in the Big 12, then my answer would be one of those two programs. Yeah. But I, of course, am not going to say any SEC team because I think it's incredibly difficult to keep that sustained success in a conference that's that difficult. But I'll say the same for Big Ten. I wouldn't go with a Big Ten team because they are too deep as far as a conference goes, I think.
So Notre Dame is that's who's left.
Notre Dame is well, no, there's 2 other conferences, but no, Notre Dame certainly as an independent gets to set their own schedule. So that is a conversation I would be willing to listen to. The problem is Notre Dame has always scheduled really tough opponents, so that's why I wouldn't put them there. I would look at the ACC and then I'd look at the Big 12. But for me, the reason that I brought this conversation up is FSU was in the ACC or is now in the ACC. That's the team that had once done it. I would go with either Clemson or Miami, but I'll lean towards Clemson. Clemson has had a ton of success with different quarterbacks, certainly under Dabo Swinney. But I think even if Dabo decided to retire tomorrow and they got another great head coach in there, that program is built. And he's starting to lean into the transfer portal. Certainly another coach might handle that a little bit differently. But that program has resources. And the ACC isn't quite as difficult football-wise. Certainly basketball is the heralded sport of that conference. But I think that because the conference isn't as hard, your path to success is a little bit easier.
So no one's picking Georgia.
No, because for me, the SEC is just a little too difficult
Dog
year
fans,
in, year out.
They're going to come out on the text line. You're counting us out again.
I think Georgia might win multiple national championships like we've seen, but then have a couple years where, like this upcoming year, Georgia may not finish top 5. We have no idea what's going to happen with the roster turnover with Gunnar Stockton and things like that. But it's so hard with the likes of an Alabama and LSU, a Tennessee now coming on. Obviously Florida, if Florida gets back to where they once were as a powerhouse, you've still got an Ole Miss that people thought was going to make the college football playoff this past year. South Carolina got close. Yeah. Arkansas once upon a time was really good. Auburn, there's just it's too deep to me. But that's the same for me with the Big Ten as well.
Yeah, I think that it's an interest, and I didn't even think about it in that side of the conference they're playing, because in my head I was like, well, I feel like we've seen before they're going to weigh SEC and Big Ten. So I think a lot of times in the future when it goes to 16, we'll see how that ends up looking as who has automatic bids and what it looks like. So that already is going to be interesting. But I do think because of that, you do kind of see Big Ten and SEC teams get put in because their schedule is harder. And so I do think that's going to shove some ACC teams out of it when maybe they would have been in the top 4 if that wasn't considered.
And that's important to note. FSU did this in the era of the BCS. Mm-hmm. It did it in an era where there was not a multi-team, double-digit number of teams in a playoff. And so
just AP voters is how it
exactly.
is. Yeah.
And even if the AP poll continues to be dictated by voters in their perception, ultimately, if there's a 12-team playoff, you can essentially see this is the order of finish. And that's independent of our rankings. Yeah. We can certainly say, well, Arizona State and Texas lost in the same round, and Texas looked like the better team and had the better regular season. Sure. But outside of that, you can't in good faith then put a team that advances 1 or 2 rounds past Texas ahead of Texas.
Yeah, the Final 4 are the top 4 teams, and then the argument would then be the fifth team.
Right.
And so when I use top 5, it's just because FSU did something that no other team has even come close to. That's the question. If I were to ask a completely
that
different...
is insane, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Bobby Bowden, ridiculous. And the fact that, he came so close to beating Miami a couple of those times, if not for some field goals that missed, could have had potentially more national championships than he even did. If I were to ask you the question, and this is a totally different conversation of which college football team is most likely to make the playoff the next 15 years or 14 years, since they did it 14 times.
There's probably a lot of Georgias in there.
Then I would definitely go with SEC and Big Ten. I would say Ohio State. I would say Georgia. I would say certainly maybe Alabama. We'll see, but Ohio State and Georgia for sure.
But I also think those Georgia and Alabamas and LS, like they're all going to knock each other out. Essentially, just during the regular season. And so I don't know about that year over year.
They'll weigh, like to Taylor's point, the people, they're going to get most likely the most automatic bids.
Correct.
The SEC and Big Ten.
But I would bank on, if the ACC continues down the road it's currently on, I would bank on Clemson.
They're gone.
It's already gone. I would argue that it's more likely that a Clemson or a Miami continues to get that automatic bid out of the ACC.
Just looking at the last, let's say 20 years of Ohio State, in the last 20 years, they've only had 5 seasons in that span of time that they weren't in the top 5. Hold on. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. 2 of those, they were 6th. But it's unfortunate. It would be like 4, and then they'd lose. And then it'd be like 4, and then they'd lose.
Not unfortunate.
Yeah, not unfortunate in some of our eyes. But for them, when it comes to a streak, they're 1 win away in several of these years from having like 16, 17 straight seasons with being in the top 5.
Yeah, and then that would be the conversation of, look at the different coaches that have been able to do that, whereas Bobby Bowden did it as by himself, the only head coach there. And look, some people would argue the landscape has changed drastically, and we know that. Back then, student athletes were student athletes. They went to one school. A lot of them as freshmen and sophomores didn't play. Then eventually they became upperclassmen, and then they were able to start. And so they already had a ton of experience in the system, even if it wasn't on the field during
other
live
schools
game
weren't
action.
doing it while Bowden was doing it. Like, if it was that much easier at that point, then there'd be other teams with 14 at the time that Bowden was.
Well, FSU...
Not saying that exact number, but having the streak of it.
The path to recruiting, too, and the reason I thought of Miami as being another team that could do it, recruiting is Florida is such a hotbed for high school football. So you're naturally, when FSU was at its peak back then, they were getting the best recruits, or Miami certainly at times was getting the best recruits, Florida at times too. And so it's even easier to recruit them. They get to stay in state. And so certainly Bobby Bowden, phenomenal head coach, phenomenal human being. And even though I was raised to hate him because of the Florida State type of stuff, I can still as an adult look back and be like, I fully respect he was a great guy. All right, I will give you today's Terminix Pest of the Day. On the other side, you are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Ever wonder how Dan and Jeff got hired at 1010XL?
You guys have any skills at all?
Please. The drill.
Yeah, we have skills.
Mornings.
I'm sorry. Maybe you already answered this, but why exactly are we here?
On 1010XL.
Why does Northeast Florida buy from Arlington Toyota? Because Arlington is the place to go for big selection. I'm talking over 800 vehicles, one location, and everyday low prices. Over 350 SUVs, over 175 trucks, over 275 cars. And if that's not enough, there's more on the way. Plus 60-day exchange. You've heard me talk about it, but let it sink in. Buy from Arlington. Take it home. Drive it around for 60 days. And if you decide it's not right for you, you just come on back to Arlington and exchange it for another one. You even get Arlington's lifetime warranty with your new purchase. Why buy from Arlington? Because right now you can get financing as low as 0% on select new models. 0% and no payments until January 2026. That's like 7 months from now. Crazy. Now you know why Northeast Florida buys from Arlington Toyota. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295, or at arlingtontoyota.com.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
Florida Heat hitting like a heavyweight? Time to call in the champ.
KO Electric and HVAC. We knock out the heat and power up your comfort. Fast, reliable, and undefeated in home service. KOElectricJacks.com. KOElectricJacks.com.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Let PGA pros straighten your morning drive with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser on Brunch with the Tour, Tuesday morning at 8:30 on 1010XL. Teed up by Apex Roofing and Contracting and Clearwater Irrigation. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A.
It's Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jax Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jax Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Spend an evening with heart. One night, 2 sets. A journey through the hits and timeless classics. June 24th, St. Augustine Amphitheater. Tickets on sale now at AXS.com. Don't miss an evening with Heart live.
Love is in the air. Beards Diamonds. Listen up, couples. Got you a great offer. Hicken here. For a limited time, buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. That's right. When you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Save up to $10,000, man. Are you about to get married? Been married for years, thinking it's time for an upgrade? Don't miss the deal of the year on the ultimate symbol of love. Beards has hundreds of bands, top designers, white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, platinum, plain bands, channel set bands. You get the idea. Nobody has a bigger or better selection of wedding bands than Beards. So get to Beards now. Find the wedding band that reflects your style and your personality. Buy one, get the second one free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't or won't do this, but Beards can, and it's happening through June 23rd. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate your eternal love with the eternal symbol. For a limited time, buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. That's right. When you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Shop local. Beards Diamonds at the St. John's
Have you
Town
been
Center.
diagnosed with moderate to severe opioid use disorder? You may qualify for a new clinical research study. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso is now enrolling participants to evaluate the effectiveness of a non-opioid medication treatment option for OUD. Qualified participants will receive study-related care at no cost and may be eligible for reimbursement of travel and accommodations. To qualify, applicants must be 18 to 65 years old, have been diagnosed with moderate to severe opioid use disorder, and have not been on medication to treat opioid use in the last 3 months. The study lasts up to 22 weeks, with weekly visits during treatment. If you're ready to explore a new path forward, visit OUDstudy.com for more details and qualifications. Take the first steps and visit OUDstudy.com. That's OUDstudy.com. OUDstudy.com.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
My mother told me, she said, Andy, you'll be a man soon. so understand.
Taylor Dalmia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Thursday afternoon. It's time now for the Terminix Pest of the Day. As always, brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online, terminix.com. You can schedule a free quote right there on the website. They came out to our house this morning and tackled all of the mosquito issues that we have. Of course, it rains a ton this time of year, and so those mosquitoes come back out. So they sprayed our front yard, our backyard, brought some equipment, so we will be mosquito-free all summer long. They also take care of Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town. They do such a fantastic job, so make sure you find them at Terminix.com today. All right, so the Chiefs, would you say Brett Veach is a pretty good NFL GM, ladies?
Yes.
Oh, that's a resounding yes. So when it comes time to the NFL draft for this year, who did we talk about outside of maybe Will Campbell as far as some of the best offensive linemen?
I guess this is going in a Josh Simmons direction, which we said if he hadn't been injured, he probably would have been the second or first offensive tackle off the board.
Yes, and so here's the thing. The Pest of the Day, the 31 teams in front of the Chiefs that needed an offensive tackle because Josh Simmons is going to be ready for training camp, Andy Reid said today. So yes, while he had an injury, you have to look forward, not necessarily backward. It's the doctors at the combine obviously can go through and can tell if any of these injuries are going to be lingering or long-term. And obviously the Chiefs medical doctor, and I'm sure most of them looked at it and said, no, he's going to be fine by the time, we get to late July. Josh Simmons is probably going to be the best tackle in this draft. No offense to Will Campbell. And therefore now the Chiefs just get another piece to protect Patrick Mahomes.
Now, with that said, he did suffer a torn patellar tendon in his knee in October. Like, this is not just, he's got a bum hammy. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a
tricky injury.
It's a tricky injury. While it's not an ACL, and I do subscribe, I'm not a doctor, so don't take it as gospel, but I do subscribe to the theory that you are not at your peak form 1 year after an ACL tear. It takes a full 2 seasons. This is the early onset of his career, so even if we want to lump those 2 knee injuries together, you can say, well, he's going to have rookie bumps in the road anyways because it's his first year in the league, and so you'd rather he take those lumps while he is also coming back from this injury. But, I mean, wasn't the torn patellar tendon, I thought that was what Ben Barch had too, and I mean, he's not been the same player ever since, so I don't want to speak out of turn on that front, but I don't want to just say
Ben Barch also dislocated his knee in addition to suffering the
torn patellar tendon.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that one was worse.
My guess would be that other medical teams didn't love what they saw. And not saying that he wouldn't be ready for camp, but maybe they see some concerns of whatever the case may be, just not being 100, how long it takes to be actual 100% and get back to the way they were, or there's just concerns of it happening again, things like that, because it was somebody that you're obviously talking about a lot. But then you also saw a guy like Armand Mimbo shoot up that last month, 2 months. And so everybody kind of started talking about him, and you weren't even really hearing much about the Simmons anymore. And so I wonder if that injury hadn't happened, how that would have shaken out anyways, because I do think Kelvin Banks, obviously the other tackle that was drafted high. I think that there must have been some medical teams that didn't love what they saw.
To the punchline, Lauren.
But the Chiefs won.
Yeah, I was just going to say yes. To the punchline, yes.
The Chiefs
of course,
know what they're doing.
Yes, of course it's going to work out for the Chiefs because it always works out for the Chiefs. I mean, it really didn't up until 2017 when they drafted Patrick Mahomes. To be honest, if you ask Chiefs fans, their existence was much like the Pittsburgh Steelers, albeit without Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
In that they made the postseason competitive, sometimes 2-win years, usually bouncing back, but never getting over the hump. And yes, now ever since the arrival of Patrick Mahomes, it does feel like everything goes their way.
I will say the last thing you want to happen, and you can't ever predict this, obviously, because injuries are unpredictable in general, but you don't want your first round pick to be one of the players that gets drafted and then just battles injuries their entire career, because that's something that gets talked about forever, especially if there are concerns about it before. If you draft a player where people are like, oh, he's coming off this particular injury, and then you draft him and he gets re-injured in camp and you don't have him for a season, that conversation is going to be huge for the Chiefs. They're going to be like, everybody told you, he's coming off this injury and he wasn't going to be ready to start week 1, and now you spend a first round pick on him. If it works out, they look like geniuses. If it doesn't, they look like they didn't listen to anything anybody was saying.
Yeah, I guess to Mia's point, it just feels like they their
Always
talent
win.
evaluation is right and usually right. And also Rasheed Rice, who missed a lot of last season, is going to be a full participant when it comes to training camp. Hollywood Brown, we saw him suffer that clavicle injury here in Jacksonville, and then he was able to return late in the season for the Chiefs. So it feels like they are getting healthier. All right, I do have, go ahead, Mia.
This is from
here in Jacksonville.
This is from one of the Googans on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. He's a Hooligan too, Danny. Don't worry. We'll call you a Hooligan. My 16-year-old just had a cadaver patella put in his knee from football, and it is, I'm assuming that is supposed to say career ending. His career has been the starting center of his high school team since he was a freshman. He kept dislocating his kneecap. So, again, we don't know the specifics of Josh Simmons' situation with his knee. Obviously, the Chiefs medical staff is confident enough, but to that point, clearly there is a chance of re-injuring, I think, with any injury, but certainly with something tricky like this one.
And the knees for an offensive lineman are very important.
Right. So we also are thinking of your 16-year-old, Danny.
Yes, that sounds terrible.
Yeah. Plus, I hear cadaver and
I know,
just
like, oh,
get goosebumps. I think the Chiefs, the Eagles right now, probably a little bit of the Bills, the Ravens, it feels like they're in a class of their own. Like, I wouldn't even put the Bengals in that category of like they always consistently make the right type of roster moves. It feels like those other teams do it. The 49ers, I think, might be the most interesting coming into this year.
Because it feels like they do, but it doesn't always work. Like it doesn't, the record doesn't match what it feels like they're doing everything in the right way.
Well, they've obviously been to a couple of Super Bowls and lost, but their roster has changed drastically over the last year. And so I wonder, they've typically made the right decisions other than drafting Trey Lance as high as they did, yet it still seemed to work out because they got Brock Purdy as Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs, it's just Patrick Mahomes is there is and will always be their X factor. And then obviously you've had Travis Kelce and one of the best tight ends in the prime of all of his career. And then guys like Chris Jones and stuff. But outside of that, and probably the secondary players you'd point to too, I was just looking at their last few drafts. Most of the names I barely recognize, to be honest with you. It's just like kind of guys that aren't hyped up. Not saying that some of them aren't making impact on the team now, but they haven't ever been that one to kind of follow suit and be like, oh, this is the guy that everybody's talking about. We have to draft him, because they can think outside the box, and that's what's made them so good and successful for the period of time they've been there, in addition to Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely. All right, one segment to go. On the other side, we'll talk a little college baseball. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Feel the downforce of 100 horses.
You see him shaking as he goes down Long Pond straightaway.
This Sunday at Pocono Raceway, NASCAR is tuned up by Maxie's Mechanics on 1010XL.
Mia here for Closets by Design. You've heard me talk about my custom closet, but why not finally create that custom garage workspace that you've been thinking about? Tool storage, workbenches, flooring, a place for everything to go. Closets by Design creates custom solutions for every space, lifestyle, and budget. Yes, it's more than just bedroom closets. Call to schedule your free in-home consultation and receive 40% off, plus an additional 15% off. Visit closetsbydesign.com and hurry, because this offer expires on June 29th.
Ready to add some value to your day? The everyday deals at Sonny's have got you covered. Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, all you can eat ribs for $19.99, and our new loaded barbecue potato for $11. Available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local women-owned solar company. At Clay Solar, we're more than just panels and power. We're about people. We make the switch to clean energy simple, stress-free, and built to last. If you've had a bad experience with solar in the past, we can help. We specialize in dependable solutions and top-notch customer service, so you can finally enjoy the savings and sustainability you deserve. Schedule your free consultation at claysolar.com.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband and wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at goosehead.com.
Start your Saturday with a whiff of the great outdoors.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman, and we bring you the fresh air of the great outdoors.
On the Nimnit Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Are you ready to play this summer? At the First Coast YMCA, we're committed to being your home for health and wellness and a place for friendly competition with team sports for adults and for kids. Basketball, volleyball, pickleball, flag football, soccer. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Discover all the benefits of YMCA membership and find your fun this summer at the Y. Registration for team sports and summer camps is open now. Visit fcymca.org.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between a patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise in towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
It's a battle for the playoffs as your Sharks take on the first place Steamwheelers. Catch all the action this Saturday, June 21st at 7. Discover the thrill of indoor football. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and full of family fun. Try the new 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card for only $100. Get tickets at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700.
Prosser here. Come cheer on the Sharks as they circle a playoff bid. It's Star Wars Night, presented by HCA Florida Healthcare. Dress up in your favorite costume. Get photos with your favorite Star Wars characters before the game. The first 1,000 kids get a free lightsaber. Join us on the field after the game for a free autograph session and special jersey auction. Tickets start at just $15. Call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. Sharks football, where memories are made.
Go Sharks! 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
A little bit of housekeeping before we get to a sports topic that we've referenced, but we haven't actually really dove into, that being the College World Series. I am proud to report, ladies, there's always an Iowa connection. Did you know that the CEO of Guggenheim Partners, who bought the Los Angeles Lakers yesterday, RJ, Mark Walter, a Cedar Rapids, Iowa native, a graduate of Jefferson High School. How did I not know this? They have a great concession stand. Shout out to their softball team. They actually know, truly. They make like prime rib burgers. It's it's literally like, we did stories about it when I worked in local news out there. So shout out to Mark Walter. Shout out to Cedar Rapids, always and forever. The College Baseball World Series final is set. LSU, Coastal Carolina. I'm excited to dive into the storylines, but yes, we must have a requiem for Arkansas, the House of Horrors. That is Omaha. For Woo Pig Sue continues. Although I think on both sides of the ball, like everyone, especially in Scott Van Pelt's Sports Center that immediately followed last night's I guess it was the second game. Yes, because the first game happened earlier in the day. But either way, I'll call it a doubleheader. Immediately following the game, that Sports Center, like SVP was so fixated on the could have been double play. And while I agree with that, there were fielding errors on both sides throughout this game that I think it was honestly just who makes one more mistake. Right. I mean, both sides, it truly is why you look at college baseball and you say these are student athletes. They are amateurs as much as they are getting paid to play in some form or fashion. And there is still some purity to that. Even if there are those who, much like in watching college basketball, might say, well, it's not as refined of a product as the NBA. Yeah. I appreciated the purity, and as awful as it was.
Is what I'm going to say. No death threats towards those Arkansas players that, certainly the moment it seemed like got too big for them last night. And it's so unfortunate because I bet in their life they've made those plays correctly, like 999 out of 1,000. And then that one time that you misplay a ball and you see what happens. So speaking of that, here's what that LSU walk-off last night sounded like.
In the foreground, he is the winning run. He does get one to hit. It's off the glove of the second baseman, and here comes Hernandez. LSU is on to the finals. They pitched to Jones, and it bounced off the glove of Cam Kojal, and the Tigers are going back to the finals.
Winning run right there on second base. God is good.
And whether you call them the Tigers or the Bayou Bengals, LSU in the final that does start on Saturday night at 7 p.m. They'll be taking on Coastal Carolina. And how do you say exactly that mascot? Here's the head coach, Kevin Schnall.
Everybody say it with me. Chanticleers. Chanticleers. Not Chanticleers. Chanticleers.
Chanticleers.
Not Chanticleers. I hear so many people say Chanticleers. That is directly from the head coach, like I said.
I don't know if I've ever said that word.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that I did in 2016 when they won the College World Series when I was on the Frangie Show back then, but I'm sure I said it wrong, and I'm sure I said Chanticleers. I always thought it was like that, so I wanted to play that for everybody to know. Chanticleers is how you say it, but yeah, the first pitch is Saturday night. It gets underway at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then Sunday, I love the game time on Sunday, 2:30 p.m.
Ooh.
Like, that is prime time baseball watching. It's too hot outside, so lock in for some college baseball. That could be the final game of all of college baseball this season.
Yeah. Side note, because we were having this conversation yesterday or the day before, I can't remember which one. But when your pest was somebody about Coca.
Coco Gauff?
Yeah, Sabalenka.
Yes. And so that just made me think of this because I'm like, I wonder how many LSU fans, like, all they're hearing is they won because of all of the mistakes that Arkansas made, and like that, because that's everything right now.
Sure.
You're not seeing many, like, if you're scrolling through, you're not really seeing as many plays of like LSU doing things to win the game. You're seeing the poor kid who probably needs to go get his shoulder checked because that ball bonked him so hard, or I think it's his shoulder, flung 20 yards away. I don't even know how that happens, but he has to have a sore shoulder today, but that's all you're seeing. And so I wonder how
sore
many
ego.
Yeah, that one hurt. But I love how his teammates acted after that, because it would have been kind of easy to be upset and being like, "What are you doing? Like, your legs just stopped working."
They all ran right to him.
I know, and I love that.
You're a band of brothers at that point in time. You've been through so much. Obviously, you've been through the regionals, then you've been through the super regionals. Now you're so close to making it to the final series, and obviously it just didn't go the way of Arkansas. What's a bummer is we played the highlight the other day of Gage Wood.
Yeah.
Gage Wood, the Arkansas pitcher, 19 strikeouts and just unbelievable stuff. And now we don't get to see him again. And we 100% would have gotten to see him over at least one of the three games. Or definitely one.
This is what happens when it's a playoff, when it's a tournament. It's just, it's the nature of sports. You got to love it. Also, you got to love the actual scoreboard. And by that, I mean the Rocco's Jello Shot Challenge.
Oh, yes.
Arkansas, I think, will finish in second. Or, excuse me, they will finish in second behind, of course, LSU. Over 23,000 Jello shots have been consumed by the Tigers fans up to this point.
I think Paul Skeens bought like 20,000.
Okay, so we're just going to write off this is Paul Skeens and Livy Dunn. This is their NIL
Livy
fund.
Dunn doesn't look like she's ever taken a shot in her life.
She bought
They were buying them
people.
for sure. They were by the sign and they had their trays of them. And I was like, oh, he upped that number big time because he has some money to spend on some Jello shots.
23,000 651 as of 14 hours ago, which is mind-boggling. But yes, Arkansas 8,659, so they are in second. Murray State, shout out to the Racers,
love it.
8,053 Jello shots, and then Coastal Carolina in fourth, 6,562, and obviously still games to play.
Yeah, so Coastal Carolina could end up in second.
Warms my heart.
They only have a couple thousand to go, and they have several days.
How about Coastal? How about Murray State taking down Arizona, Louisville, UCLA? Not necessarily on the baseball diamond, but I guess Coastal did. The Chanticleers did, but also in the Jello shot competition.
I have made Jello shots several times. I always use vodka, but I've enjoyed when other people have made Jello shots and they used bourbon with like a peach flavor. And I had never thought to do something like that. It's delicious.
Yeah, I love making Jello shots. That's like my thing. Everyone will be like, Taylor, are you making your Jello shots for whatever the occasion may be? Sometimes it's just a Saturday.
The sun came up.
Yeah.
Jello shots.
But I've done all different types of ones. I've done like margarita ones with tequila. I've done bourbon one, like bourbon, like peach ones. I've done bourbon berry ones.
The plastic cup for the margarita?
It's like a little margarita almost. I'm not the biggest tequila fan unless it's margarita form, so I'll do it in that form or fashion. But yeah, I think vodka's the main go-to, but there's so many different Jello shots you can do and be creative with if you want to.
So I think what you're saying is, as much as we are excited for our trip to Vegas later this year, you are more fixated on we need to get to Omaha and
I
go
would
to Rocco's
love to go to
and do a
Omaha.
live broadcast so that Taylor can teach the boys and gals at Rocco's how to actually make Jello shots.
Yes, and buy them and drink them, eat them, whatever it is.
And maybe Paul Skeens and LSU will be there because seemingly it feels like they're there every single year. They're in the final almost every other year. Well, at the very least, they were 2 years ago. And maybe Paul Skeens will buy us Jello shots.
That'd be cool.
I mean,
I'd have to trash talk them a little bit, but
yeah. And considering Florida lost to LSU in the College World Series, like I don't want Paul Skeens around. I don't want LSU around. I did see the odds.
Yeah, you'd have to trash talk him a little bit too.
And I would, although he's really good. But I did see the odds favor LSU barely over Coastal Carolina. I wasn't sure which way Vegas would go because Coastal Carolina hasn't lost a game since March.
That's insane.
April 22nd. I thought it was.
April? Okay.
Yeah, April 22nd.
I had read it, whatever the winning streak is.
Yeah.
So I don't know, honestly, like which team is going to come out on top. But yeah, we've got the Tigers and the Chanticleers coming up on Saturday night. All right. One other Jaguars note that we haven't gotten to this week, and that is, where do you think that the Jaguars receiving core, I'll really call it pass catchers, where do you think the Jaguars pass catchers rank amongst all 32 NFL teams?
So I will cheat a little bit.
Okay.
I listened to the Athletic Football Show on my flight back the other night, and
that's not cheating because that's not where I got this ranking. So you're
good. They did their ranking of the AFC supporting casts, and they had the Jaguars in the AFC, so among 16 teams.
Right.
And this is not just wide receivers. This is including running backs, tight ends.
Mm-hmm. Sure, all pass catchers.
They had the Jags 7th in the AFC.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that because there's a little bit of a TBD on the other wide receivers outside of Brian Thomas Jr., that most probably have them around that spot right now. Very quickly could change.
Yes, and they noted that. They were like, look, I mean, obviously there's always a chance that it doesn't work out. But on the flip side, there is a potential for this to be a top 5 offense.
Yeah, I just think when you go through the AFC, there's so many, especially the AFC, but NFC too. There's too many already established groups that you obviously have to put there because you know already. And then there's that kind of factor where you're like very quick by week 3, 4, you could be already talking about the Jaguars move from 7 to 3rd.
Yeah, in PFFs, the Jaguars, so this is all 32 teams, the Jaguars are 16th, so right there in the middle of the pack, which is very similar to what the Athletic has. So I want y'all to guess 1 through 5.
Okay.
I think it'll be fairly easy.
This is just wide receiver rooms, not supporting casts.
This is pass catchers in general because
So
they
it
do
does
have
include tight
running
ends.
backs
Yeah,
and tight ends.
Okay.
So
Bengals are 1.
I would say Philly.
Bengals are 3rd.
Ooh.
Philadelphia is 1st.
Okay.
So you've gotten 2 out of the top 5.
The Ravens.
The Ravens are not in the top 5.
The Bengals.
Oh,
Did you just say the Bengals? So Bengals,
So we have Eagles 1, Bengals 3.
Okay. The Vikings.
The Vikings are not in the top 5.
Wow.
They are 6th.
Yeah, that's
just
surprising.
outside the top 5 at 6.
With Hawkinson, Addison, and Justin
yeah.
Jefferson.
Did they throw the Lions in there?
Yeah, the Lions.
They do have
Yeah,
the Lions
okay.
at number 4,
Which I
with,
get
of course, Amon Ra, Jamison Williams,
Sam Laporta,
Jameer
right,
Gibbs, David
yeah.
Montgomery. Yep.
I'm
So you're just
curious-
missing number 2 and number 5. Number 2 and number 5.
I'll go off the grid. Not the Texans.
No, the Texans are, I think, 10th on this. Yeah, the Texans are 10th, which, by the way, the Bears are 9th.
Right, which what was interesting with the Athletics ranking of supporting cast was they actually had the Texans like 11th or 12th in the AFC, but that was because they still have questions about the play caller. They have questions about if, it's
There's other factors.
Right. The offensive line in particular was included in that ranking, and they believe that it could be the worst offensive line in all of football. And so
I would love that.
Yeah, right. So that's where that was being accounted for.
I think we're like
the Dolphins. Dolphins.
Dolphins are not in the top 5. The Dolphins are 7th.
Okay.
Would it be
so close?
What about the Rams?
The Rams are not there. This team, the number 2 team, has a Jacksonville connection. I'll give you that hint.
Okay.
The number 2 team has a Jacksonville connection.
And it's not the Ravens, so there's not Derrick Henry.
Nope.
It's not the Texans.
Hopefully not the Broncos.
Nope.
Because of Evan Ingram.
Nope.
Not
necessarily a player. That's the Jacksonville connection.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. So the Niners?
Niners are 5th. That's not the Jacksonville connection, but that Niners are 5th between Brandon Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
Obviously, they're assuming that they're going to be fully healthy, along with, of course, George Kittle, Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, that whole group. Number 2 is a team that we have focused on so much this offseason in their offense. Yes.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
There it is.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
How did I not think of that?
That's what I thought for sure you would get it, Taylor, because yesterday you
went
said
on a whole rant about it.
You said I think the Bucs might have the best receiving core in all of the NFL, and so I was like, okay, she'll definitely get the Bucs in this exercise.
Thank you, Robert, on the YouTube chat for jogging our memory.
Yeah, obviously the Jacksonville connection. In case you need help following the dots, Liam Cohen, the Jaguars basically stole him from the Bucs, and I thought about this yesterday after the show. I'm sure Rays fans were up in arms when, especially they're Bucs fans and Rays fans, the Jaguars get Liam Cohen in kind of the middle of the night type of thing, and now potentially the Jacksonville is stealing the Rays from Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I tweeted that
they
yesterday. Yeah, I think and then of course there was like Bucs fans in my comments that were like, "We're not even sad Liam Cohen's gone. You guys really think that his magic playbook is what made our offense good? No, it's because Baker's better than Trevor, and because of this, and so I had to mute my comments because it just got a little wild.
And look, Baker is better than Trevor.
Yeah, he is.
Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are better than Brian Thomas Jr. and whether it's Travis Hunter or De'Ami Brown. Like, there's no question there. The running backs, Bucky Irving probably is better than whichever running back you think is going to be featured in this offense. But overall, like, Liam Cohen still was the one who designed the offense for Baker Mayfield to have his best
season. That made them have like first, second statistically in almost every category that an offense could be accounted for.
Yeah, they had been 31st in rushing the Bucs were the year before Liam Cohen took over, and then
drastically
they were top 5 rushing offense.
Yeah, granted, Bucky helped that, but some of Liam.
But the person designing the plays,
my whole thing was like the absolute uproar of when it was happening, and Bucs fans on Twitter and Bucs media, like, you cared, and it's okay to like be like, yeah, you guys suck for stealing our offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Mecca Egbuka, of course, added to that group too. So obviously Jaguars fans will follow closely along with.
Who's the bottom?
The Raiders.
Who's the bottom? Like 3 of these.
Probably the Jets, if I had to guess.
The bottom 3, 30th, the Titans, the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
31st, the New England Patriots.
That was my next guess.
And 32nd, the Cleveland Browns. The Jets are 28th, and the Steelers are 29th.
Interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of Steelers, let's say hello to Leon Cersei.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Leon, I'm going to ask you the college football question that I posed to them earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, FSU had a 14-year streak of finishing in the top 5, right?
Yeah.
What team in college football could do that now, could replicate that? We've only had like a USC come close, an Oklahoma back in the 50s come close, and then Alabama as well.
Right now.
Yeah, who do you think could do it?
Probably Georgia or Ohio State, I think. Yeah.
What about Miami?
No. I'm not there yet. I'm just being honest with you.
Not there yet.
What about Clemson? That was my vote.
Clemson?
Because the ACC is a little easier.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Clemson, Dabo's, listen, I've called the ACC the Clemson Invitation for so long because it's the only ones that ever wore it. So, yeah, you know what? Probably Clemson is a good guess because the ACC is kind of.
There you have it. All right. Weird Wednesday. How did that go yesterday?
It went well. We had some crazy dreams. Some crazy dreams. I actually told him one of mine about, when I dream, it's always from my perspective.
Yeah, sure, like you are seeing.
Right,
Yeah,
you're not imagining it from your dog's perspective.
No,
or
I
something.
always see it from me, and I just told a story where I remember I was in this crew, and we robbed banks, and we took over high trucks, and then I just remember.
Were you Leon though?
Yeah, I was in the crew.
Okay,
I was in the
so
crew,
you were Leon.
And
You
I
weren't.
saw all
Yeah.
this stuff going on and bullets flying and stuff like that. Then when we got cornered, I said to myself, "Oh, this isn't real," and I just woke up. And was like,
Oh, yeah. Sometimes that's helpful.
Yeah.
Some people dream looking at yourself, like they see their body.
Really?
Rather, yeah. There's like there's multiple different types of dreamers because some people don't dream. But there's if you are someone who remembers your dreams, some people it's like first person and you're seeing everything. Some people watch themselves do things in a
Interesting.
dream. Yeah.
In my dreams, I can never get anything accomplished.
Yeah. Oh no, I
Like,
can't
if
walk. I can't like turn a doorknob. I'm like,
Right. I have to like pack a suitcase and I can't do that. I can't make a phone call. Yeah, all those things. All right, what's coming up, Leon?
Well, we got a little college football. We got college football. The top 25 coaches of the last 25 years.
Ooh, okay.
And then we got a big three pertaining to the Jaguars. What's more likely to happen? And we got betting odds.
Oh. I like it. And y'all are going to make bets amongst yourselves as well.
We're going to put $1 on what's more likely to happen for the Jaguars. We got three categories.
I love it. All right.
Money on the line.
Yes.
I love it.
Thank you so much. We'll be
You got
listening.
it.
All right, there he goes. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. That'll do it for us today. These Heels Are Made for Talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go to our XL Prime Time with tons of college football, and Jaguars football is next.